Ward Wasingishu. Let's cross over to Nakuru County, the London ward by-elections. There's some action there, tear gas being lobbed at the people who've joined there. Let's listen in to Bridget Singano. What's going on?
So right now, Mark, what you can see is that there's a heavy police presence here. They are wearing their combat gear. Tear gas canisters have been lobbed here, several of them here at the Milimani Primary School. This is the main polling station or polling center because it has the most voters, registered voters. And earlier on, there was an altercation between UDA agents and the security organs here. According to what we've heard is that one of the agents was assaulted and he was chased out of this polling station, but they came back to ask what was really happening. What you can see right now is we are headed towards one of the vehicles of the Langata Member of Parliament. He is one of the chief agents of the UDA candidate in this by-election here. He is the one who claims to have been assaulted by a security officer, and he came back to just find out why and what prompted that reaction towards him. But right now, his car has been vandalized. You see that a stone has been thrown towards it. And what is happening is that there are a lot of tear gas canisters being thrown all over the place. The security officials are there asking people to leave. So we do know that right now, voting has somewhat been suspended here at the Milimani Primary School due to this kind of hiccup. We still are trying to get to the details, and we will be briefing you accordingly. But Mark, initially we had spoken also with the county elections manager regarding this process here in London Ward and in Healthgate. He had given us an update on what was really happening. By then, everything was going on seamlessly at both polling centers in London and Healthgate wards. But right now, you can see the kind of ruckus that is happening here at the Milimani Primary School. What we should know is that about 4 aspirants are supposed to vote here at Milimani Ward, but you can clearly see one of the people, he's one of the agents who have been assaulted. He is seeking an audience with the security officials here. He wants an explanation as to why he's been hurt. They are trying to speak with him, but again, he wants to leave. What is happening? He's asking, actually, he just wants to find out why he's been hit. He's bleeding profusely from the back of his head. You can see the contingent of police officers here. So many tear gas canisters are just flying about, trying to contain the rowdy crowds because some of the voters have also been irked by what just happened. This was part of the process. We are seeing GSU officers here. Remember, ideally, initially, intelligence reports had already gone around that this is going to be a very sensitive election, and we can clearly see the manifestation by the presence of police officers. We have seen them come in droves. Initially, it was like a show of might, trying to show that they are in charge, the security is in control. But right now, we've seen them act. We've seen them throw tear gas canisters. We've seen them ask even some voters to leave, to reduce the crowding in this Milimani Primary School. And you can see he is trying to also, I think some journalists have also been hurt in this altercation initially, and right now we're just trying to get to a feeling that he's told us also as journalists to leave. So we are also being led out of this polling station or polling center. There are 8 polling stations here at the Milimani Primary School, and so far I think there's no activity going on. For those who had their agents inside the polling stations, they are still locked inside, you know, just to prevent maybe the further disruption into the activity. This is the Member of Parliament's car. You can see that a stone has been thrown, its windows have been broken, some of its lights have also been busted, and it's kind of a tense development here, but we do hope that everything will calm down and we'll be able to continue with the coverage of this by-election here in London. So far, things are going on well, but then we had a lot of chaos going on. Right now, we're just going to head towards where some of the agents are holed up. You can also see they're not alone. Even IEBC officials who have been manning these polling stations have been left to kind of confused rather, because they don't know what really is happening. But what we can tell you is that tear gas canisters have been thrown, not 1, not 2, more than 3, more than 5 and to disperse the people from here. It all started when a UDA agent raised an alarm about some irregularity, and then he was pounced on by a security official. He was hit. He claims that he had been attacked because he was raising some serious questions, but then again he came back, and when he came back is when now the temperatures rose. You can see in some of these classrooms, these are the polling stations, and you can see now people are just left ajar looking at what has been happening here on the field. Elections were going on properly. People were voting, and now people have been left behind, confused. They don't know what to say. It is supposed to be a democratic process, a process where everyone's supposed to engage in a civic duty. But here in London Ward at Milimani Primary School, you can see people have been left. The ones who are inside voting have been left inside the polling stations voting. So far, nothing as far as the voting material has been disturbed or disrupted. It's just that the observers who are inside are the ones who have been left indoors, just as the police try to contain this area. I can see them now move towards the gate of this school, the main entrance, and they are moving there. And the police officers who are moving there, they have their face shields, their helmets, and they are moving in to just contain what is happening outside the boundaries of this place. Maybe you can just try and find out kama kura inaendelea ama bado imesimama. Kuna kura inaendelea ama imesimama? This is an agent.
Okay. Wenye walikuwa hapa yetu walikuwa wameisha. Tulikuwa tunaongojea wenye wanakuja wenye wamechelewa. Lakini sasa vile kumeenda bao kumenyamaza tu. Tutaendelea.
Tumesimamisha agent from IEBC?
IEBC, yes.
Oh, you're an agent. Well, this is
wakati wa UDA. Na imesimama kidogo, tumesema tufunge mlango kwanza, lakini lazima kura itapigwa. Asante
sana, asante sana. So that's just the situation in one of the classrooms, which is the polling stations. Let me just grab the county elections manager. He's just going to tell us, Bonero Teach. Yes. We do apologize for the hiccup that has taken place, but what is the status right now as far as the elections or the by-elections here in London Ward?
Well, we've just experienced a very small hitch.
We can turn this way.
I really do not know how this thing began because voting was going on very well. Voters were coming and they were getting shown which polling station they are supposed to go and vote. And the queues were okay. But at some point we just heard there was some commotion involving one of the members of parliament and then some members of the public. We really don't know what happened and how it all began. But the police have tried to contain the situation, even though it has really interfered with the voting that was going on.
Initially, you had concerns about the crowding at the polling stations. Can you just bring us up to speed?
Yeah, my concern was we are not supposed to have people crowding. Once you vote, you're supposed to leave the polling station so that we don't entertain crowds and we don't know what they are discussing. But, because of the fact that this is a center of interest, there were so many people coming in. Some of them you don't know whether they are really voters or they are just members of the public interested in. And the police were beginning to manage the crowds slowly and slowly. It took time, and then how that incident came up.
As IBC, you have a monitoring capacity. Are you going to see maybe you guys calling out the people who misappropriated or behaved inappropriately during this time? I know you're also working with the Office of the Registrar of Parties.
Definitely, we are closely monitoring what is going on. I've actually asked the returning officer to come from the tallying center to this station. We'll consult and see, but our interest is to ensure that voting goes on uninterrupted. And we have tried to tell the police to manage the crowds. Let us also manage the politicians. I want to plead with everybody else. If you are not accredited as an agent or a chief agent, then really also the coming of those kind of people creates unnecessary tension, which from my end, I feel it should be avoided at all costs. Yes.
This is Milimani Primary School. 4 aspirants are expected to vote here this morning. I know the UDA candidate has already voted. Which other aspirants are you expecting in the course of the day?
Well, we have 4 aspirants who are supposed to vote here. I am not so sure which candidate has voted and which one has not voted. But at least I know the Jubilee candidate votes here, the UDA candidate votes here, the candidate of, is it PEP? He also votes here. We have another party called TND. He also votes here. So I'm not sure whether they have voted or not, but at least in the course of this morning, they should be able to vote.
Ideally, you are managing 2 elections here in Healthgate wards. Can you just give us an overview of what is happening at Healthgate?
Healthgate have not had any incident reported so far. I think polling is going on very well down there. I've just called the returning officer and there is no any incident reported. The voters are doing what they are supposed to do. The crowds are being managed well and the polling process is going on peacefully.
Finally, maybe you can tell us about your expectations with what has happened here. Do you think it's going to discourage people from coming to vote here?
As much as possible, I know incidences like these ones can easily be a deterrent because nobody wants violence. Even the voters themselves don't want to come to a polling station that is, with tear gas and all these things. But I am promising that we will calm the situation down as much as possible. Whoever intended to come and vote from this polling station, please don't give up. Just in another 10 or 20 minutes, the situation will be calm. Let them come and vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, your message maybe about decorum and to agents and also the voters. What is your message?
Yes, to agents and to voters, I want us to maintain peace. This is a message we have always preached when we were doing the voter education. We told the candidates when they were campaigning out there, please let us maintain peace. This is London Ward. These are people who live in the same neighborhood. They will still exist tomorrow. Life is not going to end today. They'll have to continue living together. So my message is, please let us maintain law and order. Be peaceful, irrespective of who you support. Let the people speak from the ballot. We will see what happens in the evening.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is the county elections manager from IEBC, Silas Rotich, just giving us a brief on what really transpired and that led to the heated situation. But what right now I can tell you that it is calm, Mark. There is a sense of normalcy just trying to resume in this polling station, and we do expect voting to continue as is the usual. And so far there's maybe a lot of dust and the tear gas fumes are still in the area, but we do hope that it will also quell down and in some time people will still start trickling in. I was really, in the morning, we really did not anticipate that we would have such an occurrence, and we do hope that, according to the IEBC County Elections Manager, that everything will go on seamlessly.
Well, that's definitely not the definition of seamless so far, what you've shown us. Keep safe, Bridget Ngana and Samdo. Thank you for keeping us posted on what's happening there at the Milimani Primary School polling station in the London ward. And there was word about the concerns about the security, and now we see why. Let's cross over not too far from you in the same county, Healthgate ward, where Ruth Sarmwe is also keeping tabs there. Any highlights, any issues emerging so far?
Well, Mark, unlike London, where hell has broken loose, here in Healthgate, everything is going on very well. Election is going on in the 41 polling stations within the Healthgate ward, and we are at the tallying center. And you may wonder why we are at the tallying center this early, but we've been made to understand that the IEBC chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, will be touring this ward to see how the elections are going on. But remember, this ward has 13 contestants, 2 of which are going head to head, the UDA candidate Jonathan and the Jubilee candidate Virginia, who are going. It's a hotly contested seat where we are going to see how things are going to fare on. But we are joined by the returning officer, Mr. Mbui, who will explain to us. I made to understand that the voter turnout has been very low. Maybe you can help us understand what's the situation.
Yeah, the voter turnout may be low in these morning sessions because we expect it to be higher in the afternoon because of the workers in the flower farms. Once they come in, I'm sure the lines will start swelling up. We expect that in the morning sections, normally we didn't expect much of the voters to be around, but as from 11, 12, 1, we project that we shall have a number of voters coming in. Otherwise, we are very peaceful. We started on very well. Most stations opened up at 6 as planned, and we've not had any chase. Everything is going on well as planned.
What should we expect once Chebukati is here?
Well, I'm expecting my chairman anytime, but he's coming on a normal tour of to see what is happening in the world and giving us more support. Nothing much. We are encouraging our people to be peaceful, and we encourage that we don't allow roaming agents. Police agents are supposed to be in the polling stations, which are independent by nature. So if you are agent, remain in the polling station. We don't have polling center agents. So our place is clear.
So shukran sana. Mark, as you've heard, for now we are just going to wait on the IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati to arrive, and then he will give us an update on what is happening. And also remember, this ward has about 24,000 voters, and as you've heard, the returning officer has alluded that since morning they have experienced a low voter turnout, but as the day progresses they are expecting that the voter turnout will increase, because most of the registered voters, I beg your pardon, are workers in the flower farms, and right now they have gone to work, and hopefully during the day they will report at the polling stations and cast their vote. So we'll keep you up to date on what will be happening, and once the IEBC chairperson will be here, we'll keep you up to date. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Ruth Sarmwe. At the Healthgate ward in Nakuru County, the by-elections, they're not looking too busy, but it will probably get even more busier once